Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chat, channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. We working. Showtime put together a great triple header yesterday. Charlo really impressed me. His knockout stood out. And as far as a better fight, I think Austin Trout versus Hurd was the better fight because it went some rounds and it was very competitive. But Charlo definitely had the knockout of the year. Now, Errol Spence was in town. His stablemate, his buddy Charlo, someone he spars with, frequent collaborator because they have the same trainer, was fighting. So he was out there. He announced he is fighting Lamont Peterson in January. The venue and the actual date, those particulars were not released, but it looks like it's in January. I told you guys, great thing about having such a star-studded, action-packed 2017 in boxing is naturally some of these fights and future fights are going to spill over to 2018. So it looks like we're on par to have a great 2018. Now, a lot of y'all, on my channel, I gotta talk about this Errol Spence, Keith Thurman thing. And it's like varying opinions, and I want to give mine. And take it for what it's worth. I'm a fan of both Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. I like both of them. I've interviewed both of them. They're both good quality fighters. If they fought each other, I think it would be a good quality fight. Competitive fight and everything. But I'm very transparent on my channel, and I gotta keep it a buck like I always do. And it just appears to me that Keith Thurman don't want no smoke with Errol Spence. And it seemed that way for a minute, but even more so now. Like, it's just like Keith Thurman was there in New York too for the fights. And I'm not trying to create an issue or, like, you know what I'm saying, anything like that. I'm just merely speaking from the heart. And it just seems like the hunger and the eagerness to fight, either any way you slice it, on the Keith Thurman side, it doesn't sound, maybe it's the way he's wording it, maybe it's his own inhibition, I don't know, but the way he's talking in interviews makes it sound like he doesn't want to fight, and there's no way to cookie cut it or sugarcoat it. That's just what it seems like. You guys seen the title of the video? They both had him at a mini press conference before the fight card, and when Errol Spence Jr., and this is my opinion of the situation, when Keith Thurman was at the podium talking about potentially fighting Keith Thurman, or about potentially fighting Errol was just like looking at, I study like psychology and body language and stuff like that, and Errol Spence looks like, oh man, it reminded me of, if you ever seen the movie Juice with Tupac, when he was like, man, what's your problem? You my fucking problem. And Bishop went crazy. They almost got in a fight. And then Raheem, he made him squash the beef. And Bishop, they like dapped it up and hugged. And you see Bishop like rolling his eyes like he don't really want to squash the beef and really hug. You guys, if you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's what Errol Spence looked like. He looked like Bishop in that scene. Like he was just going through the motions, and like I seen him, he was sitting next to Broner and sitting next to Keith Thurman and Steven Espinoza. Like he's keeping it cool, but from me, from the body language, from what I've seen, I think Errol Spence wants that work with Keith Thurman. And he knows that's the type of fight that will deliver him to the next level, that'll catapult his career, his catalog. Thurman is the only person in the welterweight division with 2 belts. And I think he really wants it. And like I said, I don't know what it is. I can't speak on behalf of either of the fighters. I'm just going off of observations of what I've seen and heard. I'm not making this up. But Thurman, the way he's talking, seems like he doesn't want to fight Errol Spence. Because like things like, I understand he just got married. He's coming off of surgery. But he's saying he wants 2 tune-ups. Like 1 tune-up should be good. I mean, it's not like you came, like, put it this way. Floyd Mayweather had a shoulder surgery when he fought Castillo, which gave him a very tough and complicated fight. Some people even had Castillo beating Floyd, right? Floyd had a surgery and fought him like 6 to 8 months later, the same exact year. You know what I'm saying? Late in the year he fought him. So why would Thurman need 2 tune-ups? maybe one tune-up. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you came back from like a broken jaw or something that you don't know how it is going to be. You know what I mean? So I don't understand that. And then, like I said, I understand he got married and stuff, but Keith Thurman, to me, he's been in Nepal, but he's acting like, and I don't know, maybe this is how he does his trips, but he's acting like he's disassociated with the whole United States of America. Like he doesn't know anything. Colin Kaepernick and, oh, Donald Trump's in office. I just found out. Ward retired. He's acting like he was in civilization. Like, I've never been to Nepal, but I'm sure they have devices and stuff. Because I know people that go to visit in Cuba where internet and different things like that could be scarce. And they still know what's going on back home. You know what I mean? They have some places with Wi-Fi and things like that. But Keith Thurman's acting as if he was in the fucking jungle or something. Like on some Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator shit. Yeah, Dylan, you son of a bitch. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he has no idea what's going on, and I don't like, how do you contact your family back home? I don't know. That it's the way he's speaking seems really weird. Now, the biggest thing that's disheartening to me is, one, boxing's on a tear right now, and I want to keep it up. And the way to keep it up is having the fights the fans want. Rigondeaux Lomachenko, you hear nobody complaining about that because they know it's a good fight. It's a skillful fight. 2 southpaws, 2 of the best amateurs ever, right? Fight we want to see. It's doing good with ticket sales. You don't really have no reason to gripe. And I think Thurman versus Spence Jr. would be that type of fight. Who is going to complain about that? 2 champions. Errol Spence just earned his stripes with Kell Brook victory. People, oh, he hadn't fought no one. Okay, now he fought someone. And he stopped him. And he actually knocked him down, something Golovkin didn't even do. So, and that was at middleweight. So, I mean, there's nothing to complain about the fight. 2 is, I follow Thurman's career, and it seems like he's lost some of the hunger. He even talked about this, and then he said it. He was like, you guys can go research. I'm not going to lay this out, but I've seen it at the press conference. Keith Thurman was like, oh, he just captured his first world title, so he's hungry. And then he made it sound like as if Errol Spence is hungry because he's new to this and he just got his first world title. But then I think he realized that it made it sound like he's not hungry, and then he changed it. And he's like, oh, don't get it twisted. I'm still hungry. There's still room in my belly to, but it didn't sound, like I said, maybe it's just how he's wording it, but to me it didn't sound good. You shouldn't be like, oh, he's hungry because he just got his first world title. You got 2. You know what I mean? So people are definitely, there's a bullseye on your back too. So you have to be hungry because people want that. People want that Thurman name on their resume and different things like that. So I don't know. It's just, it's hard to put into perspective because I've heard and seen a lot of interviews and they're all on different sources and different places, but they're all recent. And it's just the way he's talking makes me feel like he doesn't really want that work. I need 2 tune-ups. Acting like he doesn't know what's going on since he's been back from Nepal and who's who and what's what. He's saying things like, oh, I don't know when the fight will happen. I never seen a contract with his name on my desk, but I don't know. Because even though that's not the case, like, here's an example, and I know this from personal experience. I know the Porter family. They want the Danny Garcia fight, right? Even behind closed doors, if they're being told they're not getting the fight next, they are still saying and publicly putting the message out there to fans. Like Sean Porter took to his Instagram, and then there's probably some more stuff coming, hint, hint. And he's openly declaring that that's the fight he wants. He wants to fight Danny Garcia, and he wants a rematch with Keith Thurman. They're publicly putting that in the atmosphere, kind of like the laws of attraction. You know what I'm saying? You put that out there like, man, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be, and then boom, maybe one day you work hard enough, you are successful. So even though Keith Thurman, let's say, okay, you never got a contract that said Errol Spence Jr., you seem weary and timid when it comes to fighting him. You know what I'm saying? But if you put it out there like, man, I'm hungry, we can go right now. Even if you put it out there, it'll still build up the fan and build up the fight. I feel like there's maybe a likelihood that it'll happen because Al Heyman, I'm sure he has the Watsons or whoever that report back to him, and they'll be like, oh man, Thurman, he's calling out Spence. Can we make this happen? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So you still have to put it out there. If you really want the fight, put it out there. Put it in the atmosphere like that. You know what I mean? Charlo knocked out Erickson Lubin and called out Hurd, who's in the building, who's on the same card, who's a champion in his division. That's how you do it. To me, you know what I mean? Even Jeff Horn did this. I mean, even though we knew it wasn't going to happen, he called out Errol Spence, called out Thurman, said he'll fight Pacquiao again, called out Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't happen, at least you did your part by at least putting it out there. And Thurman's not really doing that. And it just seems, I don't know. It just, like I said, it's disheartening and whatnot, because I followed Thurman's whole career back when he was fighting, when he was supposed to fight Maidana and the fight got canceled, and then he was on HBO fighting that Lara dude, not Edislandi Lara, a different, spelled different, and he stopped him. I've been following his career from way back then, and I seen a different level of energy, and that's the thing, is like, people, their energy doesn't seem the same when it comes time to talk Errol Spence Jr. You know what I mean? People were like, rah, rah, rah. And then Errol Spence's name comes up and the energy doesn't seem the same. And I remember, that's why, like I said, it's disheartening. I remember Keith Thurman back then, motherfucker was hungry. He was like Paulie Malignaggi when he was the champ. See, this goes back a while, because Paulie Malignaggi's now retired, kind of recently been sparring Conor McGregor and stuff, but this was back when he was a champion. Right, so a lot has changed. He fought Broner. A lot has changed since then. But I remember Thurman rushed and he was pressing Paulie Malignaggi because he wanted his shot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you really think about it, if you really and truly think about it, Keith Thurman was the Errol Spence Jr. of the division before Errol Spence Jr., his name started getting bigger. You know what I mean? He was the person that, he was like boastful, and he was, you know what I mean? Like I said, he went to Paulie Malignaggi's press conference and interrupted it and was pressing him like, better not duck me, son. Right? He was calling out Floyd and like, we burning money. Floyd, fight me. We burning money. I'll show you how he was doing those things. But now he seems very passive. And you got a person who's at your neck, you know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't, he's like, man down, man down. I want it. And then you hear Keith Thurman and he's more mum. So that's why it's disappointing to me, honestly, because Keith Thurman previously was about that life, and he wanted those things. He wanted those opportunities. You know what I mean? You called out Floyd Mayweather. You knew you probably weren't going to get that fight because Floyd gets to pick his fights, and there's other people that make more business sense and more money for Floyd than you do. But he still called him. Now all of a sudden he seems like more, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, okay, like let's say I have some of my boys or whatever, and we used to hit the party scene and go clubbing, and then they get married or have a kid and settle down, and then they're like super family man, and they don't even, like, you know what I mean, they don't even want to hang out and play dominoes or, you know what I mean, watch football. They're just like completely different, you know what I mean, and settle down. That's what Thurman is seeming like. He just seems like real, almost complacent, like not when he's in the ring, because like he did his thing with Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, but just the way he's talking like a businessman, like, I don't know when the fight will happen. And he also said, I'm in a position of power. Like, I'm not trying to hear that talk. Like I said, everybody wants to be Money Mayweather, but they don't want to go through the pretty boy Floyd stages. Floyd was at this for a while. Before Floyd became Money Mayweather and this A-side, cash cow, all this shit, he was pretty boy Floyd. And he was racking up body counts. Manfredi, Gennaro Hernandez, Diego Corrales, calling out Costa Zoo, calling out Shane Mosley, Oscar De La Hoya, and beating Carlos Baldomir, Zabju. He was doing all of that, right? Climbing through the rankings. Arturo Gatti, rest in peace, but he pieced him up, right? Then he became Money Mayweather. Now people, it's like these fighters see how much money can be made in the sport with Conor McGregor, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Conor McGregor, just having a mouthpiece, came over to boxing and made more money than most of these boxers have made in their last couple fights, if not their career, lifetime. You know what I mean? So people see that, so it's like reducing the hunger or something. That's what I feel. Because Thurman was once this hungry and calling out everyone. Now when Spence's name comes up and it's popping, now all of a sudden it seems different. You know what I mean? And it's not just him. Like, since we're going in, like, even like Gennady Golovkin was like, man, no one wants to fight me. And I agree. Nobody was really trying. Cotto, Sergio Martinez, Canelo at a point. No one seemed like they were really trying to fight you. But now, Danny Jacobs just pushed you. And then Team Golovkin's talking about we don't want a rematch until we don't want to rematch him for 4 to 5, 6 fights. What? That was a great fight. I was there live. You know what I'm saying? Or Jamal Charlo moved up to the division. He's the #1 mandatory. Oh, why should we fight Charlo? He hasn't done anything. Like, what? You guys were begging for fights. Begging because no one wanted to fight you. You know what I mean? So your energy has to stay the same in the game. And I think Keith Thurman, he got the 2 belts, and now he's like, he said he's not going to abuse it, but you kind of are, because you're not really publicly demanding the top fights. Basically, bottom line is this: Errol Spence and Keith Thurman are #1 and 2 of the division. I mean, they would probably both be favored to beat Jeff Horn. And I mean, you could put Terrence Crawford, but the only difference is we haven't seen Crawford there. He hasn't had one welterweight fight, but he's obviously a good addition. But as of right now, since what's been done already, with the exception of Crawford, because we know he's skilled and he can move up and do damage in the division, but he hasn't had a fight yet, so we have to wait for at least him to have one fight to see how he looks, right? So as of right now, today, October 15th, I feel like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence are the people to beat. Champions, more proven than Jeff Horn, stylistically better than Jeff Horn, stuff like that. So this is the fight that's going to prove your true worth. And just like Joshua, he's saying, oh, maybe fight Wilder in 2019, 20. People aren't really trying to hear that. The fight is hot right now. Spence versus Thurman is hot right now. Y'all are both juniors, Keith Thurman Jr., Errol Spence Jr. People want to see it now. And I'm realistic. I don't think he has to come back straight away and fight against him. But, you know, you could come back, fight Victor Ortiz, fight Collazo in the rematch, just, you know what I mean, because he's the one that hurt you probably the most. You know what I mean? Fight a guy like that and then fight him later in the year. But it just seems like a lot of uncertainty from Keith Thurman. And that's the 411. That's my honest opinion on the whole circumstance. Hopefully, Keith Thurman realizes what the fans want and goes back to the mentality that he's always showed previously, because Errol Spence is right there right now. And the thing with boxing is this. I say this all the time. It's not like you guys are in two different worlds. Like even Mayweather McGregor, that was kind of a chore, because you had the UFC and the Fertettas and Dana White and Al Heyman. Everybody had to come together on that from two different sports. But this is not like Andre Agassi versus Errol Spence Jr., a tennis player versus a boxer. You know what I mean? These are two people who are on the same side of the fence with Al Heyman and PBC side and Showtime and all that, have a working relationship with all of that. And you're in the same division and you're both champions. So it shouldn't even be much complexity to it. You know what I'm saying? It should be like kind of a given. And just like Charlo did last night, you had Erickson Lubin, who was very hungry and said, hey, it's my time. I'm going to shut him up. He's a paper champ. And then Charlo was like, boom, nope. Right? And stopped him. Same thing with Charles Hatley. He was a mandatory, came for Charlo's head, had a lot to say, bad blood, and then he got stopped too. So that's, in boxing, you have the ability. If Keith Thurman, if you feel Errol Spence, he's young and hungry, but he's not ready for your level, you can prove it. And there's an easy way to prove it. You know what I mean? And I just feel like people got to give Errol his shot, in the sense of the rumor or the excuses are out now. You can no longer say, oh, he has to do more, he has to fight someone. Because he did fight somebody, and Kell Brook beat his ass in his backyard and then stopped him at welterweight. Not in some foreign division to Kell Brook like Golovkin did. You know what I mean? You don't get the same type of peas doing that, because, I mean, I feel the same way. Look, put it this way. If Golovkin moved up to cruiserweight and got stopped, I mean, okay. I want to see a middleweight stop Golovkin. You know what I'm saying? So if you stray away from your division, don't acclimate and get stopped, I mean, that's cool, but that doesn't mean as much. Errol Spence stopped a big welterweight in his own division who was winning the early rounds, a lot of them. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. I want to see it. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. Hopefully they can come together by the end of next year. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.